What is going on, medical anatomy and physiology students? Hopefully you guys are doing well, and hopefully this review will help you out. So let's get started. This is Burt's Basics. We're doing Standard 1, which is Basic Body Plans, Concepts 1 through 3. So this is what we're going to talk about in this short little video. So you can see we're going to start with comparing and contrasting anatomy and physiology, talk about the levels of organization, then finish up with meta versus cata versus ana. So let's go ahead and start with ana versus physiology, because when you guys get to college, you guys are going to have a lot of classes to choose from. And one of the classes you're going to have to choose from is anatomy versus physiology. And you got to know the difference between the two of them. So if you look at it, physiology, there we go. It would sure help if we knew the parts of these words and what they actually mean. So let's talk about anatomy first. If you guys have taken midterm, you should recognize the word tomy really often. We use tomy all the time. We use it in tonsillectomy, tracheotomy, colostomy. We use tomy a lot. Tomy means to cut. And ana is a very good midterm as well. Ana in midterm means up. And ana means up. So if you kind of look at it that kind of morbid way, that's kind of what anatomy is. Anatomy is you take the body, you throw it on a table, and you cut it up into many, many pieces. It's all the parts and pieces. So that's what I probably talk about here, the parts and pieces here. Where physiology is a little bit different. So if we do ology, ology is the study of, and so what in the world is phys? Phys, actually in midterm, means nature. So in physiology, we're studying kind of more how everything works together, how they piece together and how they form a team. So let me give you a better example of anatomy versus physiology. If you look at this, in every class that you ever have, they're going to freak out because you're going to see your precentral sulcus and your central sulcus, and everyone's going to be like, man, I don't even know what those are. This is a perfect example of what we call an anatomy diagram. These are all the parts and the pieces of the brain. So if I was in class and I was like, hey, you, Joe Schmo in the front row, what does my superior temporal gyrus do? People can see it right here in the middle of your diagram, but that doesn't mean you know what it does. Versus, this is an example of a physiology diagram. So you can see there's a judgment center, there's a movement center, there's a vision center. But if I say, hey, what part of the brain is my vision center? You don't know that either. But if you combine them together, you get something like this. This is an example of anatomy and a physiology poster because it's got the parts and the pieces and all their behavior. The second thing we need to talk about is we need to talk about the levels of organization. I know that you guys always want to start with the brain, but you can't start with the brain. The way that anatomy is set up, and frankly every science class in the world is set up, is it sets up in these different levels. You have to start at the basics. So in this class, we are going to start at the chemistry level. Once we get carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus, all these atoms on the periodic table solidified, then you'll understand the next level, which is DNA. We're going to talk about sugars and fats and lipids and carbs. These are molecules. And then we get to bigger. We go to cells. Cells are really cool. Almost everything in the world is at the cellular level. I'm going to teach you in this class that any disease you have, it's going to be based on cells. And then after cells, we go to tissues. And then finally, we get to organs. Once organs all work together, we get an organ system. And finally, we get an organ system. It forms an organism, which is me and you. So I would know these levels of organization. Just know that we're going to start at the basic, which is chemistry, and then we're going to build our way up. Now, when we look at this, this is where the next two words come in. Anabolism versus catabolism. Now, you guys might be familiar with the word anabolic and catabolic, but let me go ahead and kind of talk about these in kind of in our own way. So if it's okay, I'm going to go back to my drawing guy here for a second. So now let's go to our next one. We did our levels of organization, and we did it in the following way. We started with atoms on the periodic table, and then we got a little more complex, and we went to molecules and compounds. Okay, I'm just going to put moles and comps. And then when we got those guys kind of outlined, we jumped to the next level, which is cells, which are way complicated. But as you can see, as we go this way, they're getting more and more and more complex. Whenever I go this way up my levels of organization, I'm building up bigger things and more complex things. And anytime we're going this way, we call that anabolism. So anabolism is the chemical processes used to build up or synthesize new tissues, or to build something what I call more complex. And if we're going to go the other way, a lot of times I have different things in here. Say our next level is tissues, right? So if I have tissues, fat is considered a tissue. So when I work out, I got to destroy the fat to fuel my cells. So I'm going to take the fat, and my goal is to break it down into carbon dioxide and a lot of other cool things. Now when I'm going down the totem pole, that is called catabolism. So kata in MedTerm actually means down. And don't forget, you already know what ana means. Ana means up. So I always argue that anabolism is building up and catabolism is destroying down. And then you get the catch-all of everything. If you have anabolism, if you look at our diagram, we're taking simple things and we're using energy to build up a larger complex. When we're using catabolism, we're taking a larger complex and destroying it into smaller complexes. And if you add these two bad boys together, you get the word that everyone knows, which is metabolism. Metabolism is the sum. It's the collection. It's all chemical reactions in your body of synthesizing new tissue and catabolizing tissue as well. As I get older, man, I'll tell you what, I didn't think metabolism really changed, but when I play basketball now, I used to have to, anabolize new tissue after to help, repair things. And boy, my anabolism is slowing down as I get older. So if my anabolism is slowing down, and it's one of the key parts of metabolism, that means metabolism is slowing down as well. Well, guys, I hope this video helped out. So here's how every video is going to end. We have some practice questions. So if you guys want to pause this or go ahead and answer it, and then the answer keys are on the next page. So I hope you enjoyed Burt's Basics, and we'll see you for the next video.